to be in Oakland when Black Panther came out, you know, and like we bought whole movie theaters out and gave tickets out free. I mean, people came dressed up in their finest African-esque garb that they could find. The kids, I've never seen this kind of response in the Black community to a Marvel movie. And we all love comics and everything and all that, and the X-Men, all that, you know, but this response was different.
You can't think about the West Coast without thinking of the Black Panthers, without thinking of the Black Power movement. You have to remember all of those things. So that's what I caught from that connection.
We were at Comic-Con.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah.
We were at Comic-Con in Hall H when they showed us the trailer for that and Infinity War before, like months before it was even released. It made me so much more excited than I know everyone else was because I got to see it so much early. So technically I had to wait longer because I knew what the trailer was, but no one else knew. So I couldn't say anything or do anything about it.
I mean, we could take it back to Civil War, you know, when he first came on the screen. With Winter Soldier and they're fighting.
When he popped up in Civil War, dude, I lost my shit. Lost it. I lost it. I was like, yo, wait, what? What am I seeing here? Like, what?
You know, when you're a kid, Chadwick Boseman is T'Challa. Like, he is the Black Panther. When I see these little kids, and this is the first time they've had a hero that they could really claim as their own, and on top of that, I'm in Oakland. You know, like, we had panel discussions before showing the movie, show the movie, then panel discussions after. You know, we had kids, finally I have a superhero that I can be. It's hard to sort of explain how important a hero this guy was.
I don't know, it's just like it's a really big movie for the culture, not just Black culture, but just the culture in general, like of what's going on and how our lifestyle now, how we live with, you know, hip hop music, Kendrick Lamar doing the score in the album, like it's just so many elements of the new school that's in that movie, not even just for Black culture, but just like the new age in general. So I feel like it represents us a lot and they executed it really well. So
all the resources that we have come from Africa, you know, the machines we're using, et cetera, from, you know, the Congo is a real place, you know, there is a, you know, this kind of Wakanda, if you want to call it that, you know, that exists, and the entire world is powered by, you know, coltan and all the diamonds and all these things, the same way that vibranium was maybe powering all these things.
For the end of the movie to end with T'Challa essentially passing off to Shuri the responsibility to take the next generation forward through technology, through investing in our own neighborhoods. That's essentially the Black American dream, right? To do something great, then to come back to your own neighborhood, invest to make your people better. It connected the middle passage, you know, because Black is not a monolith. There are many forms of Black, many interpretations of Black. It's also, it's usually spoken as one, like we are all in this classification together, but we all represent different things. There was a bridge built with that, with Wakanda coming not to New York, not to Atlanta, not to Dallas, not to Memphis, not to DC, but to Oakland, you know.
The parallels to that in reality, the concept that we have a hero and then to see him sort of really be like a real life hero, like was fighting through pain and doing all these things and was stoic about it and kept it to himself and passed with dignity, even when people were down in him as far as his appearance and things like that. It's just a crazy story, and I don't know how we're going to recover from it, but I understand that the spark that it created will live on through a whole new generation, I believe, of comic lovers and of children, etc. My sister went to Howard when he went to Howard. You know, they're the same age, so he's been doing it since way back then as far as acting, and to see him in Oakland on the big screen with all of us dressed up in our special garb and the think pieces and talk about maybe the need for us to repatriate and strengthen our links with Africa and all that. It's just so, it's very huge to now wrap our head around the fact that this individual who is just a guy playing a character, how much we're going to miss him and the void that has been created. Even when, what was it, Endgame, when he came back, I think my daughter shed a tear, my daughter's 8. I mean, she didn't cry when he passed. It's just a movie, etc. But when it came back, she really cried in the theater, a character connecting with her like that. I mean, she likes Shuri, of course. Shuri's super smart and she's into computers and all these things. But to see a character connect like that to her is awesome, because I think, okay, that's the hook.
You got a black superhero, and it's done correctly. It's done with the right budget. It's done with the perfect actors. It's just represented on every level of like excellence. And sometimes, that was amazing to see. It's I compare it to when Barack Obama got into office. It was amazing to see. That was amazing.
And it's like that connection to our past, and then seeing the planting of that seed to go forward, choosing Oakland as America's Wakanda. We're investing in ourselves here. And I felt that was the message that was given in choosing that city.
It was like bringing it home. And also it was making it relate to more than just dyed-in-the-wool comic book fans.
At Comic-Con, I had the privilege of meeting Ryan Coogler. He's mastered the ability, like he's supremely intelligent, like all these subtext in the movie, all these layers, But when you talk to him, he's from Oakland, He is who he is, and I love him for that. A really Oakland guy, like to the fullest. So after that moment, I was looking forward to that movie. It was all I thought about. I was nervous that it wasn't going to do well, and then when it started doing well, it's still like, it's the last thing I bought. It was and will be the last thing I ever bought on DVD.
It definitely had a huge impact on me as a Black person and just the Black community, man.
It was important for Black America. It was important for comic books.
I really do think that the arts are part of this sort of the sphere of politics and all these things that sort of push the pendulum, or whatever you want to call it. And I think that they have a tremendous sway. It to me made huge strides in humanizing the Black or African or Pan-African, whatever you call it, struggle. And I think it has a lot to do with people participating in something that they probably would not have participated in 5 years ago. Because the exact same stuff has been happening for 400 years.
It resonated with not just Black people. We saw ourselves in him. Everyone saw themselves in T'Challa, which is amazing to think. Like a Black superhero, there are little white kids in the Bible Belt, the Midwest, everywhere, and they're wearing T'Challa's mask and doing the Wakanda salute. Like, that's insane. And that's the movie that crosses over, but doesn't compromise anything. Because usually when a film like that crosses over, it's watered down. That wasn't the case with Black Panther, And it wasn't R. It was a film that showed familiar, like a tight family. Everybody has some level of dignity to them. It deals with real social issues, and it sparked conversation.
I'm also originally from South Carolina. Chadwick Boseman is from Anderson, South Carolina. It's a very small town. We used to drive through Anderson. It might have been 10 streets. And, the day after he had passed, South Carolina lowered their flag for him. And, he was just a huge influence to all of us. Those of us that never met him, he was just a huge influence to all of us. I mean, he represented not only Black Panther, but Thurgood Marshall, Jackie Robinson. Like, you could tell he was very thoughtful in the roles that he portrayed.
And for that man to portray a character that we all loved and admired and kind of paved the way for the creation of a lot more Black superheroes is powerful. And for that man to no longer be with us after giving us this gift, and he's portrayed so many different Black heroes aside from T'Challa. Like, he was like born, Chadwick Boseman was kind of born to portray the best of us, For
us to lose him in 2020, during the heightened time of Black Lives Matter, during what I've been calling like a second awakening for humanity. We're all trying to be better people. And he was like our symbolic superhero, you know.
Over the years, knowing and meeting Chadwick, we went to a celebration for James Brown after the Get On Up film came out, and we were there with Aloe Black. And Aloe was able to introduce us to Chadwick. And I remember Chadwick coming up to Miles, and he's a fan because he obviously loved James Brown. And first thing he says to Miles, he says, "I'm proud of you." And it just resonated with me from that moment on that this guy, Miles, is going to continue to look up to. When he saw 42, that's all you talked about, because he got a history lesson quicker than we explained who Jackie Robinson was from that movie. And then we go to Comic-Con and we see Chadwick there, and, you know, he signs his Marvel book, but he puts 42. So it was just those things like that, to get that, it just took us to a whole nother level. He always acted like a real dude. He was always like a real dude around us. So I'll never forget the effect that Chadwick had on Miles.